Hi, I'm Tom Brookshire.
And I'm Pat Summerall. In this week's show, you'll see all the best action from last Sunday's opening games, and some pretty wild action it was, Tom.
Well, you're right about that, Pat. We had strong performances by the winners in almost all of last week's games, but we also had 3 pretty surprising upset victories, all of which were in doubt until the closing minutes.
We'll also be adding a new feature to the show this week, a Best Performance of the Week award.
And as you watch the action along with Pat and I, see if you can pick the best of the week.
We'll give you our opinion on the best of the week at the end of the show, and we'll also go out on a limb and pick some of the toughest of this week's upcoming games.
Well, those picks are really something to look forward to. You know, last year, one of us was right almost every week. I think that's true.
Yeah, I guess it had to be, didn't it? Last year, the New England Patriots opened their season and their new stadium with a thrilling upset victory. This season's opener was not so thrilling for the Foxborough faithful.
Over 60,000 New Englanders poured into Schaefer Stadium last Sunday to see their brand new New England Patriots 1 year later. Although the weather was just as gorgeous this year, there was a cruel wind which always seems to be blowing against the Patriots. And this combined with a savage and swarming Cincinnati defense to completely thwart the Patriot offense. Quarterback Jim Plunkett, 1971's Rookie of the Year, had the Patriots' longest rushing play of the day, and the only one of more than 10 yards. The Cincinnati pass rush, Royce Berry, Mike Reed, Steve Chomasak, and rookie Sherman White gave Plunkett all he wanted, forcing 2 interceptions and downing him on 4 other occasions. The New England kicking game also had its problems. Superfoot place kicker Mike Walker of England never had a chance, and neither did punter Pat Studstill. While number 20 cornerback Lamar Parrish did an excellent imitation of Lem Barney, running back Essex Johnson, number 19, did an excellent imitation of, well, Essex Johnson. Last season, Johnson threaded and bounced for an average of more than 6 yards per carry. Last week, he could manage only 5.5 yards per carry. The Bengals have a number of accomplished running backs, but 5'9" Essex Johnson is something else again. The Bengals didn't pass often. They didn't have to. But when they did, second-year quarterback Ken Anderson connected, once for a touchdown to Bob Trumpy, as the Bengals rolled over the Patriots 31-7.
It looks like the Bengals reached an emotional peak for their opener. I thought the Kansas City Chiefs would too.
Well, plenty of experts, including, I guess, Pat, you and me, had the Chiefs already in the Super Bowl. But against Miami, their champagne season started stale.
Embedded in the flatlands of Kansas, Arrowhead Stadium stands as a monument to the rich history of the Kansas City Chiefs. Filled to the brim with 80,000 diehards and oozing with pomp, the stadium was ready for the Chiefs' revenge game with the Miami Dolphins. For 9 months, the Chiefs had simmered over their loss to the Dolphins in pro football's longest game. Now, vengeance was theirs. But the Dolphins were ready and dealt out much punishment. Even young, untested Vern Den Herder, number 83, fought through the red to pick Lenny Dawson's 37-year-old pocket. The Dolphins' collapsible zone twice plucked passes from the hands of Kansas City receivers, and vengeance was theirs. On the ground, Miami was led by the unmatched triumvirate of Mercury Morris, Jim Kick, number 21, and Larry Zonka, number 39, whose demolition derby burst accounted for over 100 yards. Finally, heady Bob Greasy rolled right and tossed a touchdown to recently acquired Marlon Briscoe. The touchdown resulted from perfect blocking. Watch number 81, Marv Upshaw, as he is ridden out of the play, allowing Greasy a perfect sightline to Briscoe in the end zone. By halftime, a 17-0 Miami lead and 100-degree temperatures had drained the dispirited Chiefs. Their frustration can be summed up with the pent-up rage of receiver Otis Taylor, number 89. When he missed a block, the sweep was swamped in a wave of white. Even his graceful antelope strides carried him not to touchdown's door, but to a clumsy rendezvous with his teammates. And with empty slogans drooping in the stands, Otis Taylor, superstar, was thrown out of the game. Only once did Kansas City score a touchdown, but it was a hollow 6 points in the final seconds as the ingrate Dolphins busted up the housewarming 20-10.
In Dallas, the Cowboys looked like anything but world champions, as they were almost caught with their computers down.
The computer in Dallas labored 8 straight days on the Cowboys' opening offensive play of 1972, and then turned it over to the human. To prove if it was a machine or mortal error, Dallas tried it again. For the mighty Dallas Cowboys, nothing seemed to work on opening day. Rookie Robert Newhouse wove through the Eagles on an incredible journey to a touchdown. Then it was discovered he'd stepped out of bounds. Unfortunately for the Philadelphia Eagles, they were not ready to seize the situation on a day that saw Dallas ready to be beaten. With starting quarterback Pete Lisk idled by shoulder miseries, Philadelphia inserted their #1 draft pick, John Reeves. Reeves promptly delivered a 59-yard bomb to Harold Jackson. But Reeves' inexperience surfaced all too swiftly as wily Cornell Green snatched away a sure touchdown. From that point on, the Doomsday defense put a quick end to every Eagle trick. The Dallas offense regained the human touch as quarterback Craig Morton threw 2 touchdown passes. One was floated to Ron Sellers, who made a bobbling catch. The second was rifle to Lance Allworth as Dallas finally overcame their lethargy and defeated the eager Eagles 28-6.
The classic confrontation of superstar versus superstar. That's one of the NFL's most exciting features.
That's right, Tom. Take, for instance, last week. John Unitas went up against Tim Van Gelder.
Baltimore's Memorial Stadium is home to a legend named John Unitas, who last week began his 17th season, needing only 63 yards to make an even 22 miles of passing yardage in his NFL career. The St. Louis Cardinals countered with a slightly lesser-known quarterback. Number 16, Tim Van Gelder, was still looking for his first NFL passing yard, despite 5 years in the Cardinal organization. A taxi squad veteran, Van Gelder won the starting job over Gary Coazzo and Jim Hart during training camp. And on his first play in his first regular season game, he set out to make up for lost time. Jackie Smith's miscue spoiled the storybook start, and the thugs of the brutal Colt defense rose up to crush Van Gelder's offense. The Cardinals could manage only 17 first-half yards, while number 19 was proving to be the Johnny U of old. He led his team to an overwhelming statistical edge. But each Colt drive stopped short with a turnover. Even the usually reliable Jim O'Brien, number 80, fell prey to the comedy of errors. O'Brien missed 2 short field goals and had 2 others blocked, while Unitas was driving his team anywhere he wanted except over the goal line. Larry Wilson's painful interception kept the Colts at bay, and Van Gelder finally decided to try Jackie Smith one more time. Smith made his amends, and number 44, Donnie Anderson, squeezed over to give the Cardinals a 10-3 victory. Despite being buried in every category but points, the Cardinals had their first win, and now Tim Van Gelder needs but 38,610 more yards for his first 22 miles passing.
The Green Bay Packers were relying heavily on 2 rookies in their opener with the Cleveland Browns, and both Willie Buchanan, a cornerback, and Chester Marcole, a kicker, proved worthy of preseason notices.
In Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, with the song and dance dress rehearsals behind them, the Cleveland Browns and the Green Bay Packers, 2 dynastic powers in decline, squared off in search of a future as agreeable as the past. Green Bay's future began looking green and golden when their number 1 draft pick, Willie Buchanan, picked off this Bill Nelson aerial on the 3rd play of the game. The Pack's second-year quarterback, Scott Hunter, then found tight end Rich McGeorge, a number 1 pick in 1970, and Green Bay was up by 7. Hunter had hopes of an early rout when he found number 46 Leland Glass sprinting free, but the rookie Glass could not complete the play. But Hunter returned to the porous right side of the Browns' defense, and this time it appeared he had found extraordinary success in the person of number 36, the welcome addition, MacArthur Lane. Lane not only outstepped Mike Howell to the end zone, he also stepped out of bounds along the way, and the Packers were forced to settle for a long field goal try. Chester Marco's attempt was blocked by Jerry Shirk and recovered by Clarence Scott, who completed the 55-yard turnabout touchdown play. But Hunter had the big play when he needed it, this time hooking up with Leland Glass for a 31-yard advance. And then, off the play pass action, he coupled with number 81, Rich McGeorge, for the go-ahead score. But for Green Bay, the best moments came when their second draft pick, number 13, Chester Marco, stuck shoe leather into pigskin, a feat he accomplished properly 4 times, separating Green Bay from Cleveland 26-10.
You know, Tom, not since Don Chandler, and that's been quite a few years now, have the Green Bay Packers had a reliable foot in the game of football.
I was out in Cleveland, and Marco had the first one blocked, so he came back with the good kicks after having one blocked on him. He's going to be a good one.
That's what I hear.
You know, speaking of feet, have you seen the ad running locally in New York that says Norm Snead has big feet? I don't know what that means, but he's got some big shoes to fill at quarterback for the Giants this year. And it would have been quite a feat if the Giants had been able to defeat the Lions up in Detroit.
In Tiger Stadium in Detroit, at the nail-biting peak of the pennant race in the American League East, mild-mannered Major League Baseball stepped aside for the commencement of the national pastime. Straight from 3 fresh preseason kills, the Giants stalked bravely into the Lions' den, pinning their hopes and dreams on the spirals of number 16, Norm Snead. The game's first significant play occurred after Snead hit Bob Tucker for a 23-yard gain. Tucker fumbled, Lem Barney recovered and returned 20 yards, setting up an Errol Mann field goal at the top of the second period. On Detroit's next possession with 2nd and 25, Greg Landry speared John Hilton at the Giant 40. And number 81, Hilton added 40 more, streaking untouched to the end zone. Number 22, Rocky Thompson, put the Giants back in the game with a 92-yard burn to touchdown city. Number 36, Steve Owens, got his the hard way, like this 18-yard spurt off tackle. But in the end, he collected 113 yards for his most productive day as a pro. Landry speared Al Barnes for a second touchdown as the Lions offense secured complete control of the game. In all, Landry connected on 9 of 17 throws for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Lions' final touchdown came on a Landry to Ron Jesse connection. completing a 30-16 victory by the Detroit Lions over the New York Giants.
Looks as though we've got the same old battle in the NFC West this year.
That's the Rams and the 49ers, of course, but there is a difference this year in that they're both better.
Last year, the Rams were upset on opening day by the Saints, and this year, New Orleans seemed to be trying even harder. But don't let these next two touchdowns fool you, because Archie Manning to number 41, Bob Newland, came when the Rams had the game salted. And Manning to number 46, Dan Abramowitz, came even later than that. In fact, there was only 1 second left in the game. But what came earlier was Ram defensive domination, like that of number 74, Merlin Olsen. And Merlin Olsen accompanied by the marauding horde. As for the offense, running back Bob Thomas, number 35, took care of business. He was ably assisted by number 45, Jim Bertelsen. But Thomas was on center stage as he rampaged for 123 yards in the first half. He set up this Roman Gabriel touchdown pass to Jack Snow, which gave the Rams a 20-0 lead. Then number 19, Jim Nettles, stole a Saints pass to set up some more Rams scoring. Larry Smith did the honors. The rest was Bob Thomas, who totaled 2 touchdowns, 144 yards rushing, and an 8-yard average per carry on 18 tries. And the Rams look good all the way around, as the 34-14 score will attest.
34 points. Pat, that's tough to beat.
That all depends on whether you like 34 points rushing, like the Rams did it, or 34 by passing, like the 49ers did it. Of course, most coaches will take it either way.
Those drums at Candlestick Park signaled a war dance, and the San Diego Chargers arrived weaponless. One of John Hadel's few scoring threats was stopped by number 23, Johnny Fuller's interception. And for a minute, the referee forgot who threw the pass. Of course, he could be forgiven because even Hadel forgot that he was supposed to be throwing to the guys in the white shirts. And even with number 13, Wayne Clark, at the controls, the Chargers continued to fall at the drop of an arm. They also fell at the drop of a leg. One thing the Chargers did manage quite well was to snuff out the 49ers' ground game. Although they extinguished the red runners, they couldn't put out the fire from above as John Brody and Gene Washington teamed for 3 early scores that made the Charger efforts a study in futility. The Brody to Washington combination is only a little better than great, but they're getting better all the time. In the end, the Chargers did manage one startling 62-yard bomb and a field goal to avoid the humiliation of a shutout and to settle for the humiliation of a 34-3 loss.
The New York Jets opened their season in Buffalo against the Bills, but it was the Bills who were buffaloed.
It looks like an old art museum, but it's really an old stadium. War Memorial Stadium in Buffalo, where the Bills and their Victory Star fans entered the 72 season optimistically for the first time in years. It was the same old stadium, but the Bills had some new young talent and a new old coach in Lou Saban, returning from Denver to run a team he had led to 2 AFL titles a few years back. Though it would be a rough homecoming for Saban, his team would have its moments against their opponents, the New York Jets. Alvin Wyatt provided one such moment with this return, as did Jan White, number 80. Bills quarterback Dennis Shaw and his flashy second-year receiver J.D. Hill, number 40, they had their moments too. Hill, recovered from an injury that sidelined him for most of last season, caught 2 scores. This one from O.J. Simpson as the Bills won the initial game. O.J. to J.D. for a TD. O.J. batted 1,000 as a passer. This one to another second-year flash, setback Jimmy Braxton, number 34 from West Virginia. These were a few of the moments the Bills enjoyed. In fact, they were the only ones. O.J. should have kept on throwing, for the Jets' defense held him to under 3 yards a try. The Jets' defense was considered a shaky question mark for the upcoming season, but it was their defense and special teams that put this game on ice long before it was over. Steve Tannen set up the Jets' first touchdown with this theft, one of 2 he would get in the game. The talented third-year cornerback is out of the Jets' doghouse this season, starting again and being touted for All-Pro by the Jets organization. Another young defender, safety Chris Farasopoulos, scored the second Jets touchdown that put New York up 14-0 in the first quarter. The Jets had another new look, a healthy Joe Namath. And Joe Willie opened his 8th year with his 50-yard slingshot as accurate as ever. Namath's protection was flawless, as was his deception. He only completed 5 of 14, but they were good for over 100 yards and a touchdown. But it was the Jets' line and runners that carried New York's offense. Number 44, second-year man John Riggins began his quest for 1,000 yards by ripping off 125 yards. And Emerson Boozer, number 32, scored 3 times, once as a receiver and twice on the ground as the Jets' running attack chewed up almost 200 yards, en route to a crushing 41-24 victory over Buffalo. With a healthy Namath, the Jets should remain contenders. The only question of the day was why Coach Saban was smiling after the game. Perhaps it was a smile of relief that after 60 exasperating minutes, peace had finally come to War Memorial Stadium. In any event, a stadium banner ironically forecast things to come in Buffalo.
In last season's final game, the Atlanta Falcons won and completed the first winning season in their history. Last Sunday in Chicago, they picked up right where they left off.
In Chicago's Soldier Field last Sunday, many fans mourned the retirement of all-time NFL halfback Gale Sayers. But Chicago's new coach, Abe Gibron, found a new friend, second-year running back Jim Harrison, who had previously been known, if at all, as Joe Moore's running mate at Missouri. Now that Joe Moore was hurt again, the burden of the Chicago ground game fell to Jim Harrison, number 35. Against Atlanta, Harrison carried 20 times for 113 yards. Gale Sayers would have approved. Even the officials were impressed. Jim Harrison climaxed a brilliant opening day performance with a fourth-quarter touchdown, which did not win the game, but which won a standing ovation from the Soldier Field throng. Despite Jim Harrison's heroics, the Bears' longest run of the day was a quarterback keeper by Bobby Douglas. To complement his cannonball running style, Douglas used his cannon arm to fire a touchdown to rookie tight end Bob Parsons from Penn State. In slow motion, it is possible now to analyze each move. The fake to the running back, the drop back, the step up, and then the cannon fires. Number 82, second-year tight end Earl Thomas held on long enough for a touchdown. But the Bears weren't always so fortunate. Number 71, Falcon defensive end John Zook made several big plays, including one of the game's biggest. When number 69, Mike Lewis, caused a fumble, Zook scooped up the bouncing ball and instantly became an offensive hero. Zook's touchdown opened the floodgates for the Falcons, and Atlanta runners poured through, including a new addition to the Falcon fold, number 43, former Packer Dave Hampton. Falcon quarterback Bob Berry accounted for 3 more touchdowns, one to last year's rookie sensation Ken Burrow, number 82. Bob Berry sneaked for another score and capped a great opening day for the Falcons when he hit fullback Art Malone for a 57-yard touchdown. In a wild opener in Chicago, Van Brocklin's Falcons outscored Gibron's Bears, score 37-21.
The toughest year for any pro football player is the rookie year.
There's only one thing worse than being a rookie player.
This is Houston head coach Bill Peterson, a rookie from Rice University who's looking for his first win in the pros. This is Denver head coach John Ralston from Stanford, a rookie who's looking for the same thing. Last Sunday, Coach Ralston got help galore from quarterback Steve Ramsey, as early in the game, Ramsey winged one to Riley Odoms, number 88. And while Denver fans were well pleased, no one was happier than Coach John Ralston, who's a far cry from those stoic coaches who hide emotions as if they were diamonds. Number 10, Steve Ramsey, put Denver on the board with a shot to tight end Billy Masters, and the Broncos were never headed. They were never headed because Ramsey kept coming up with big plays. On this one, he hit Rod Sherman, who galloped 55 yards. Again, it was Steve Ramsey, this time on a keeper that put Denver on top 23-10. Meanwhile, Oilers signal caller Dan Pastorini was the scrambling man in search of a receiver. He finally found one in 00 flash Ken Burrow, and the Oilers were close at 23-17. In roulette, 00 wins, but not this time, as number 21, Randy Montgomery, prevented the tie. And the Broncos added one for good measure on the last play of the game when an alleged punt turned into a 66-yard touchdown scamper for Billy Van Heusen. The 30-17 Denver victory left the Broncos alone at the top in the AFC West, and they have never been there before this late in the season. For first-year coach Ralston, congratulations. And for first-year coach Peterson, well, wait till this week.
All during preseason, there were strange rumors emanating from Pittsburgh about a Steeler team that may have finally learned how to win. Last week, the Oakland Raiders discovered these rumors to be fact.
The Pittsburgh Steelers claim to have what it takes this year. A large part of that claim is based on the proposed maturation of big blonde Terry Bradshaw, a quarterback on the threshold of full potential. Last week, Oakland countered with its own golden boy, Kenny Snake Stabler, the youngest of 3 Raider quarterbacks and a surprise starter. Early in the game, Bradshaw worried Steeler fans with wild, unpredictable behavior, which marred his first 2 years in the league. While Bradshaw struggled to settle down, Stabler was snake-bit from the start. When his teammates caught the ball, they fumbled. When they didn't, Steeler defensive backs did, as Stabler threw 3 interceptions in the first period. Whatever Stabler's problems were, they seemed to be highly contagious. Bradshaw also had 3 early interceptions, and the Steelers' special teams did their part to spread the epidemic of shoddy ball handling as Henry Davis, number 53, gathered in a gift touchdown. Pittsburgh had 7 points, and Bradshaw had all the stability he needed as the quarterback of Steeler dreams emerged. Down by 14, Oakland countered the enthusiasm of youth with the guile of age as creaky George Blanda, number 16, unlimbered to Ray Chester. But by now, there was no stopping Bradshaw in his favorite play. Suddenly, the established roles were reversing themselves. The usually meticulous silver and black machine became wild and unpredictable, and Bradshaw took on the look of a seasoned old pro. A skyrocket to flying Ronnie Shanklin put the Steelers up by 20 points, and the desperate Raiders went to their bench again. This time they came up with a red-hot combination. Darryl LaMonica and number 49 rookie Mike Ciani staged a torrid fourth-quarter comeback with 2 touchdown combinations. The second good for 70 yards. But the Raiders had waited too long. The clock ran out on a 34-28 Pittsburgh victory. For the second straight year, the Pride and Poise boys will have to dig out from a demoralizing season-opening defeat. As for Terry and his Pirates, their season starts with a slogan which is brand new to Pittsburgh Steeler fans: wait till this year.
Well, that was really an outstanding team effort by the Steelers, but our first Best of the Week award goes to an individual. To be exact, a receiver for the San Francisco 49ers.
And that, of course, would have to be San Francisco's all-pro wide receiver, Gene Washington, number 18.
Patty started out with 3 touchdowns in that first half against San Diego, a team they thought had a pretty good defense, too.
I thought so. Washington, of course, has been all-pro for the 3 years he's been in the league. Led the NFC in yards the last 2 years.
You know, Nolan told me one time, just be glad you're not trying to cover him. He said everybody knows he has good speed, but he runs a super pattern, and nobody can bump him and knock him off.
I think part of the San Francisco offensive philosophy in every game they play is to hope for a situation where they can get him one-on-one against somebody, because they don't feel anybody in the league can cover him one-on-one.
At least last week they couldn't, so Gene Washington is our first Best of the Week award.
Let's start off now with our picks for this year. 0-0, obviously, now, because this is our first week. Some big games this week, though. The New York Jets at Baltimore. Who do you pick?
Oh, gosh, those Jets have the running game going with Riggins, and I think their defense is probably better than a lot of people think. Namath is healthy right now, but Baltimore might be a little bit nasty. I'm going to pick Baltimore maybe to upset them.
I think as long as the Jets stay healthy, they can be just about anybody. I'll pick them. How about Pittsburgh, Cincinnati?
I'm going to go for an upset again. I think Paul Brown will have those Bengals ready, and Pittsburgh's going to have to prove they're the best team in that division. That may be wild.
I think they've got the best young quarterback in pro football, Terry Bradshaw, so I'll pick Pittsburgh.
Well, we're on the opposite sides already, okay?
One of us has got to be right, like we said.
You're going to be up covering this game, Minnesota at Detroit. What do you think about those Lions?
I liked the way they looked last week, but I still got to go with Minnesota to rebound.
Okay, and I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. Greg Landry's got to be the best quarterback in football.
At any rate, we'll be back next week to show you what happens. I'm Pat Summerall.
And I'm Tom Brookshire.